The ingredients you'll need: lasagna noodles. They can be oven ready or boiled because we're going to boil them anyways. Lean ground beef, tomato sauce, some ricotta cheese, Parmesan cheese, Italian seasoning, mozzarella cheese, garlic salt, and then onion powder. And now we can begin. First, we're going to start with our mozzarella. I'm going to take our grater and a bowl. We're going to take our cheese and begin grating it. Remember, we're being very careful with our grater. It has sharp edges, so you want to make sure we're watching our hands and fingers. Being very careful as you're nearing the end. Again, you can stop grating or just crumble your cheese up. And when we're done, we should have lots of shredded mozzarella cheese ready to go. Next, we're just going to prepare our pasta sauce. Using my tomato sauce, I'm going to open the can. And once it is open, we're going to add our pasta sauce to a bigger bowl. Once it's added, we're going to grab our Italian seasoning. And I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of that seasoning and add it to our pasta sauce. This is adding some more flavor to our pasta sauce. I'm going to take another spoon and just stir it all together and mix it well. After we put our wrist to action, our pasta sauce is ready. On to our ricotta and Parmesan cheese. I have 1/3 of a cup right here, and I have a spoon. I'm going to take my spoon and just scoop out 1/3 of a cup into my measuring cup. For this Parmesan and ricotta mixture, I'm going to add 2 parts of ricotta to 1 part of Parmesan. So I'm going to take my Parmesan, then fill that up. So as of right now, I have 1/3 of a cup of ricotta and then 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan. I'm going to mix that together first. For this step, you can use a bigger bowl so that it's easier to mix for you. Mine is a little bit smaller, so I tried my best to keep the cheese in the bowl. Now that that's been mixed to the best of my ability, I'm going to take another 1/3 of a cup of the ricotta and then add that to the bowl and mix it around as well. Mix and mix and mix until it's ready to go. After we've got our toppings prepared, I'm going to begin browning my meat in the saucepan. And this is where a grown-up will take over for this step because we are using hot elements on the stove. So while that's browning, I am then going to add our garlic salt. I am adding 1 teaspoon. Next, I'm taking my onion powder and I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of that to the meat. And once that is added to the meat, I'm going to begin stirring it and mixing it well so that it's all blended and seasoned. We're going to continue to cook and let our meat brown, breaking up the chunks until it is ready to add our pasta sauce. I'm going to add the bowl of sauce to our pan just to heat up our meat sauce before we begin assembling our lasagna. Then we're going to give that a good stir and mix it together while it heats up on the stove. And now before we begin assembling, we are going to preheat our oven to 375 degrees. And here we are at the assembly step of our lasagna roll recipe. Here I have prepared my lasagna noodles. These are oven ready, so I ended up soaking them in water before I added them to a pot to boil. They were boiled for about 5 to 6 minutes until they were cooked enough to be able to roll without breaking. I have my lasagna noodle laid out, and first I'm going to take our Parmesan and ricotta cheese mix. And then I'm going to begin using a spoon and spooning on the cheese. When we are adding our cheese, we are only going to fill it to about 2/3 of the way of the noodle. I added a good amount of cheese to my lasagna roll. It might have ended up being a little too thick of a layer for me, but based on your preference on how you like your lasagna, you can add as much or as little to your lasagna roll as you'd like. And after it's been added about 2/3 of the way, I'm just going to even out the layer of cheese before I begin rolling. We also have one more step before rolling. I'm going to add pasta sauce to our pan, to the bottom of our pan, and I'm going to take my spoon and just spread it out. I want a good layer, so I'm going to add some more sauce to the bottom of my pan. We want to make sure it's a good even amount throughout the whole bottom of the pan, because that's where our lasagna rolls are going to be resting. We've added our sauce to the bottom of our pan, and now we are ready to roll. So, before we begin rolling, we need to know which end. So we're going to start at the cheese end and carefully and delicately begin rolling your noodle up as close as you can. You're going to pick it up very gently, and with the seam side down, there's a little seam here, we're going to place it down into the sauce. And there we have it, our first lasagna roll. And we're going to continue doing this step with the rest of our noodles, being very gentle and delicate. The noodles are still kind of slippery from being wet, so we need to have a good grip on our lasagna rolls. And here I just ran out of my ricotta Parmesan mixture, but I am going to mix more of that up in a second. So we know that our cheese mixture was 2 parts ricotta and 1 part Parmesan. So that is how I'm going to mix up more of my cheese mixture. Now that I've mixed some more of that up, I'm going to finish up my lasagna rolls. Now that that step is finished, we are going to bring in our mozzarella cheese and our meat sauce for our final step of assembly. I'm going to take my meat sauce and just spoon some of it over each of our lasagna rolls. After the sauce has been added, we're going to take our mozzarella cheese and just top each roll up with that as well. After we've added our cheese, these are going to go in the oven for 20 minutes. But for the last few minutes, I turned on the broiler to get bubbly. golden cheese. And there you have it. You have your lasagna rolls. And I hope you all enjoyed them and enjoyed making them as much as I did. It was so fun rolling them all together. And you get a delicious reward. So have fun and enjoy, everyone. Bon appétit.